off the damn daybed, didn't you? You know you did, but I wasn't paying attention because he was sitting right there. Simba comes over here and bullies him and runs him off the daybed. You know you did. Simba, you're such a bully. You're such a bully. See, that'd be hard style. That's big time ReptileAlien music. That right there, that's totally them. That's totally ReptileAlien music from the fourth dimension. Totally. There's a lot of songs that kind of have that in it. That deep thumping. They merely sharpens your blade. Simba, quit bullying Caesar. He's a bad boy. Simba. He knows I won't spank him. Okay, so well, this morning, yesterday, the experience was clearer, more memorable, but this morning it was a good one, but I don't know why it got kind of fuzzy on me. But yeah, this morning was really good. Maybe I just didn't want to remember it, but yeah, I was, and I've been in these scenarios billions of times before. It's like I was hanging out at my aunt and uncle's house, and but I mainly was hanging out downstairs, like, you know, walk out, not a basement, but downstairs. It had a walkout patio, and there's a swimming pool, and it's like I was visiting them, and then my aunt and uncle had a bunch of people over that I didn't really know too well, so then I started feeling out of place. So then I started pacing back and forth all the way from, you know, the back wall to the front wall, which was pretty big down there, and on that level. It was pretty big and spacious. And well, Joe could have been copying off of back when Kenny's house, you know, used to have a big old downstairs like that. He's probably copying off of that. But I've had many scenarios for millions of years, you know, hanging out, chilling out with, you know, relatives, and long drawn out scenario, you know, like similar to the one I had this morning. But basically I kind of started feeling out of place because I didn't know their friends very well. And like I said, I was in the scenario long time, and it was just big old downstairs shaped like a rectangle, and eventually, like I said, I was just pacing back and forth. And I did talk to some people too. I don't remember my mom or anybody being in it, but it was like friends and relatives of my aunt and uncle that I didn't know very well. And then I just kind of started feeling out of place once they showed up. And then right here, wait a minute, no, it's backwards. Hold on. Okay, wait, hold on. Let me think. Here's where how do you spell cocktails? Cocktails. Here's where, let's see. Okay, hold on. Cocktails right there. Then I was pacing and there was furniture and couches everywhere. Oh yeah, okay, here, right. Yeah, I had it backwards. Okay, and here's the doors right there that went outside to the big patio, and then there's a swimming pool, and I thought about swimming, but I never did. And I hung out over here for a long time because all of my Texas relatives, friends, were all coming in, hanging out. And eventually they were being served cocktails and stuff. And I knew I didn't drink. So I knew I didn't really want to sit down and drink cocktails. And but here's the door that went up back into the to the upstairs and stuff. And this was all, semi below ground. Like, like a walkout basement, like a big family room. This was all family room. And I know I forgot a lot about it, but still, it was kind of a fun experience. And like I say, I was in the scenario a whole lot. I mean, a long time. And then I just started feeling really out of place because I didn't know their friends very well. And then I started getting bored. And that's when I went out here and I saw the swimming pool. And my aunt and uncle used to have a swimming pool at their house and everything in Texas. And I don't know it wasn't programmed to know what state or whatever I was in the scenario. But, so then, and I'm probably forgetting a lot. I don't really like to talk about experiences where I know I'm forgetting like 50%, but this scenario, I know it got fuzzy on me real fast. But anyway, so I started getting bored and everything, and I thought, well, I need to do something, so I don't get so bored. And there was some like, I can't remember if there was a TV sitting on top or not, but like some cabinets right here against the wall. And I opened the cabinets and I saw all these decks of cards, and I saw, it was like very, very vivid. I saw decks of cards, like at least 12, 13 pairs of decks of cards. And I even saw, some of them were mine, like 3 or 4 pairs were like mine. I mean, 3 or 4 decks was mine. And there was even, and the funny thing is, a few days ago, my mom was talking about, what is that called? I just forgot. Was talking about the old maid. And I thought I had that pair here somewhere. I mean, that deck here. But maybe my mom still has it. I thought I have it in this house somewhere. But, the deck of old maids. And we used to play that all the time, me and my sister. Sometimes all 3 of us would play old maid. Mainly it seemed like I played with my sister, but I know I remember playing with my brother too, the old maid. And I can't remember how to play it now, but me and my brother used to play 10-4 Good Buddy all the time. And I can't even remember how to play it now. I'd have to get on the internet. But anyway, so there was like 2 or 3 decks of like old maids, and I remember thinking, wow, like that's my deck of cards right there. Apparently, it's just kind of funny. Apparently, I left a bunch of my decks of cards right there. My old maid cards and a bunch of other decks of cards. And I was just kind of going in there, the cabinet, and I was going to, pick up some decks and just, oh, yeah. And I thought to myself, okay, I'll just play solitaire, because that's something you play by yourself, and I know how to play that. So I saw the old maid, a couple decks of old maid cards, and I was going to pick up, just a regular deck of cards to play solitaire. And like I said, I know I'm forgetting like 45% of this scenario, some of the other little details and stuff. And like I know I saw the pool, but I can't remember any details of it, which I should remember all of that. But anyway, so it was just kind of fun, but it just kind of faded away fast. But the funny thing is, a few days, well, I don't know, it wasn't a few days ago. I think it was yesterday. It was either yesterday or the day before. My mom was talking about my old maid. She said she still had it at her house, but I think I might have a deck here somewhere. I just have to find it. But anyway, so like yesterday, it's been a while since I could just watch something and then tell myself, okay, I'm gonna have a whole scenario about this, or ask the aliens to give me, or Joel or whatever, to give me a whole scenario like that, within 12 hours or whatever. It's been a long time since, like that's happened, but it happened like yesterday morning, because the night before I was watching the episode on, on the worst prisons or whatever on Netflix. And this woman was in it. And okay, wait a minute. She's the one, or that's in this prison show or whatever. She was like, I mean, that was her 100%. That was in the scenario. I mean, it wasn't really her, but it's a replica, that aliens copy off of or whatever. Okay, so the scenario started. Okay, so now it wasn't a prison, but it was actually more like an old school type of building. But Joel was kind of copying off of the fact that this old prison that I had been watching, this old prison show, and it even showed how crappy and old the building looked, and it looked just like that in the scenario, really old and everything. Let's see, where did they show it at? Isn't that the one in Greece, Cyprus? I think so, but anyway, it's like over 100 years old. This prison. Okay, hold on.
Yep.
Wow, I don't know if I can find this spot, but it's very, very old.
Seems like a really nice guy.
See if I can find this
He's
spot.
made me feel very welcome. He's a guy who was here when this place was brutal. But what's so...
Oh, let me see if I... Because he looks up at it, it's real crappy looking. I always see a lot of cats in these prisons, man. That's kind of sad. But the inmates always seem to treat them very, very well. Yeah, man. I've watched these episodes many, 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 many times. I think I've almost watched all of them now. It may have been that other prison where they showed up at the walls and they were really old looking. But anyway, it was really old and dilapidated, like the walls and everything. So anyway, so now get off my stomach, Tori. Right there, quit that. Okay, so basically I was in a prison type of 1890s old ass building, and in the scenario it's kind of like I was just kind of like in all of the above, these three countries or whatever: Serbia, Bosnia, and Croatia. Basically those I was, those just kind of overlaid each other. Honey, those just kind of overlaid each other. Sorry, baby. Or here, hold on. Tori, hold on. Okay, Tori, you can come over here now, baby, right here. Yeah, over here, baby. Right here, get on my legs right there. Yeah, so basically I was in... Okay, but like I said, it wasn't a prison. It was just an old school type of building where Joel was copying off of the prison walls and how crappy and old the prison looked. And in the scenario, the school looked the same. But basically, I was in Serbia, Bosnia, and Croatia. All of the above in the scenario. Or I guess you could just pretend like all of those countries just kind of overlaid each other. And that's where I was at. Okay, so or that's how it was programmed or whatever. And anyway, a foreign woman, which is that woman right there that I showed you, a foreign woman with that reddish, blondish hair, whatever it is. Okay, so a foreign woman and she had a thick accent. She has a thick accent. I'm not sure what she is, Greece or whatever, but she has a thick accent. I forgot what they said Cyprus was. I forgot where they said it was, but in the scenario, she had a thick accent, and in that show she has a thick accent. But a foreign woman with a thick accent, the woman in the prison show, was teaching us how to pass driving tests. We took several tests in this large type of classroom, and at one time I looked down on the paper clearly, looking over the answers and questions. I mean, I do a lot of tedious stuff in my scenarios. And I remember just reading every single answer. Like every single answer. And it was all very, very, very clear. But anyway, so for the longest time of the scenario, I was in this big old classroom. And this prison, and the prison looking school. So a foreign woman with a thick accent, the woman in the prison show, was teaching us how to pass driving tests. We took several tests in this large type of classroom, and at one time I looked down on the paper and clearly looking over the answers and questions. And I was going down the list, narrowing down the answers from top to bottom, and I came up with about 6 possible answers towards the middle of the page, and I marked off the other ones. I literally was just like marking them off. It was all very tedious. And then I came up with like 6 answers in the middle over at the left-hand part of the page. And like I said, I marked off all the other ones that I didn't think were the answers. There were about 20 or so people in the class, including my friend Angie. Tori, okay, you're gonna have to get off. Okay, so there were about 20 or so people in the class, including my friend Angie. At one time, this is kind of funny. At one time, she handed me a folder baggie type of thing, and it had a towel in it with designs on it, with some different colored designs.
Interesting is that the prison guards that
Tori.
prisoners are still here, and he.
Okay, and wait, hold on. It was odd. The whole baggie thing was odd. It was like the folders were sort of wedged inside the baggie, and the towel was wedged in the middle of all the folders. But the whole baggie looked somewhat of a soft baggie and somewhat of a harder folder itself. But the whole baggie looked somewhat of a soft baggie. It's kind of soft around the edges and somewhat of a harder folder itself. Yeah, it was very odd. The things that the aliens create in my scenarios, very odd stuff. And the whole thing, the bag that she gave me, the whole thing was about, let's see, 16 inches by 12 inches. Okay, so, and anyway, like I said, the building looked 200 years old, like in the Bosnia prison when I looked at the walls. Oh yeah, I think that Cyprus is in Bosnia. But anyway, okay, so anyway, like I said, did I say Bosnia? Yeah, I did say Bosnia. Okay. Yeah, so the whole building looked like it was 200 years old when I looked at the walls and stuff. Okay, at one point I was supposed to take one of the tests, but I procrastinated and just looked around the room and waited several minutes later, and then I decided to take the test. Then I was too late and begged Angie for the answers. At one point, I was asking the woman instructor, I went up to her and asked her some questions and started talking to her. And I didn't really want to call her ma'am since I felt awkward, since I couldn't hardly understand her anyway. And I felt like hopefully she wouldn't get mad, which she didn't. And yeah, so I mean, I went up to her and started asking her questions, and she started talking to me, and she had this real thick accent, just like in that prison show. It was like we were staying in this place, spending the night for days and days, but it was not a prison. It was more like a school, but it kind of, looked like a prison. But it was like we were to stay there for several days and spend the night and everything. There were specified times we had to go down the stairs and eat our lunches. At one point, I knew I had to go eat, and I thought the cafeteria was possibly closed already because, like I say, I was procrastinating a lot in this whole scenario. And then I looked at the woman to the side of me in the classroom up by the big long brown table with all the unclaimed sunglasses and prescription glasses. And I saw a big arugula yummy salad that she had. It was a pretty big, yummy looking salad. I knew I needed to hurry and go to the cafeteria. When I saw that, I thought, okay, the cafeteria is probably still open. So I knew I needed to hurry and go to the cafeteria. Also, when all the classmates left for the cafeteria, I stayed behind so I could hog the bathroom and take my shower, etc., etc. Then when I realized lots of the classmates were already coming up the stairs, I was like, oh my God, I need to hurry and see if anybody is hogging the bathroom yet. I walked around the corner and realized nobody was in the bathroom yet, so I went ahead and hurried to the bathroom. And as far as I remember, I was in this bathroom for quite a while, washing my hair, etc., etc. The whole scenario lasted a long time, and here was the funny part. Oh, but I know it seemed like I did actually go into the cafeteria as well and look at some food and stuff. But that part kind of faded from my brain. But anyway, I'm not sure if I really did go to the cafeteria. But I think I did. But anyway, so but I've had many other scenarios where I was walking around the cafeteria looking at the food and blah 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 blah. Okay, so anyway, I had to go eat salad, glasses on. Okay, here was the other funny part. At one point in the scenario, that woman, this woman that I already showed you. Wait, where's she at? Right there. She brought out. Okay, that's fine, Tori. You're perfect. She brought out all these unclaimed prescription glasses and sunglasses that previous, classmates had left there. And okay, wait a minute. Okay, so here's the classroom. Okay, hold on. Okay, hold on. Okay, here's the big brown table right here that had all the sunglasses and prescription glasses. And oh my God, there was at least 30 pairs. And over here, where this was the stairs that went down to the cafeteria, and the bathroom was just kind of like right here upstairs, and the stairs was over here, went down to the cafeteria and everything. And I was just like procrastinating, and all the tables, the desks and stuff were over here. We were taking our tests, and I was doing a lot of walking around, talking to Angie and blah, 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 blah. And then the instructor, that woman right there, was over here standing up, or the other direction or whatever, talking to us, and or this direction. And she was talking to us, or this is where she was instructing the class. This direction, of course, because we were all at desks and stuff over here. And so she finally said, to come and look to see if you left your pair of sunglasses and or prescription glasses here on this brown table. And so, and this was all very, very, very vivid. And so I go over there looking, and to see if I left any sunglasses and stuff, or see if I left mine. And I started, okay, this pair is perfectly good. I'm just going to swipe this pair, it's still this pair, still that pair, and still that pair. I ended up taking like 2 or 3 pairs of other people's sunglasses and prescription glasses. And some of them, I picked them up and they were just immaculate. They looked brand new, no scratches or anything like that. And then I thought to myself, okay, well, where's my pair at? I need to find, the pairs that I brought, which were these right here. A lot of them were tinted, and I picked up one pair of the tinted, and I decided I was going to keep that tinted pair, that tinted dark blue pair, which I have in the other room. I don't have it here on me, but it's in the other room. That blue tinted pair, that was like totally in the scenario, and I picked it up to keep it, or some similar pairs, to that pair of glasses. And the other pair of glasses that were actually mine was this pair right here, and it was over there on the table, and I thought, oh, well, that is my pair. So I went ahead and picked up my pair up, and a couple of other pairs I went ahead and stole because they were perfectly good glasses, prescription glasses. And like I say, that there was one pair I picked up that was identical to that dark blue tinted, really small lens glasses that I have in that other room. I picked that pair up, a replica, and decided I was going to keep that pair. And there was also a lot of dark sunglasses as well. There was just a mixture of glasses or sunglasses, prescription glasses, the dark sunglasses, prescription glasses, and tinted prescription glasses. And it was all very, very vivid. And then, like I say, over here, I thought, well, that is my pair. And this was it, the exact pair that was in my scenario. And then, like I say, that other pair was just sort of, they were mine, but in the scenario, it was like, a replica. And I thought, well, I'm going to take that pair. It was perfectly blue tint, dark blue tint, no scratches or anything. So, but anyway, that was that scenario, and that was kind of fun. And that scenario was pretty much stayed with me, unlike the one this morning. But, let's see. Wait, hold on. But yeah, in that scenario, it's like I was walking around procrastinating to go to the cafeteria, procrastinating to take the test. And the aliens do that to me time and time again. Joel does that time and time again, where I'm just like procrastinating. Oh, here's some other ones that I had, but I wrote them down, but a lot of time's gone by. But I should probably remember them. Oh, I had this one scenario where I was at a grocery store with a Dylan's type of name, and my sister was with me, and we were just sitting near the floor, near the salad bar. And I was eating and sampling all the lettuces and cheeses and dressings, and I was just like pigging out, and I could taste everything under the scenario. I was eating for a long time, and I could taste all the delicious salads. Okay, but in the scenario, for a long time, I was meticulously tasting and eating a lot of the salad, and that went on for hours and hours and hours. I totally remember that one. And I remember the exact layout and everything. This grocery store was like this, basically, and the big old salad bar was over here. And the entrance was over here. The entrance. And then me and my sister were just kind of hunkering down on the floor, basically sitting on the floor, and we just kept getting up and sampling this, sampling that. But it was a lot of fun. Okay, and here was another scenario. I was at my friend's Deanne's house, and well, it wasn't really her house, but it was like she was living with her aunts. It was her two aunts' house. And Deanne was living there, and Deanne was my friend when I was 10 years old. And in the scenario, her mom was already deceased, and in real life, her mom was already deceased and everything. And, because, her parents were older, so in the scenario, they were deceased, and even in real life, they were deceased because they were, a lot older than my parents. Okay, so in real life, I always knew she had Greek in her or something, but in the scenario, their heritage was Cuban. Now, in real life, I think she probably could have Greek in her or something like that. But in the scenario, she was Cuban, and her two aunts looked Cuban. They were just, really dark hair, bushy dark hair. So all the aunts were there. All the aunts which were there was like 3 aunts. They all had dark, bushy hair, and so did Deanna, in real life. And basically, I was visiting her, my friend Deanne. And in this house, I don't know if I wrote it down or not, but the house was very, very old. Like, I would say 1930s or something like that. It was pretty big, old house. And it had a basement and everything, but I never did go down into the basement. And so basically, I was asking Deanne about her mom. Oh yeah, so in the scenario, I was asking Deanne about her mom, and she didn't really want to talk about her. The aunts talked to me a lot more than Deanne did. So this whole scenario, I was visiting, the ants would talk to me and we would converse a lot. So finally I sat in the house so I sat in the house while the ants walked around and conversed with me for quite some time. And so anyway, I was sitting down and the ants were just kind of walking around talking to me. And I was up in a living room area, and I even walked over to where I knew the basement went, kind of through the hallway near the kitchen there. And they had 7 cats upstairs. 7 cats where we were lingering around the living room area. And this house had very tall ceilings too. When I finally walked over there where the basement was, one of the ants said, "Oh, we have 17 more cats down there in the basement." They already had 7 cats upstairs because I was on the upper level. We all were on the upper level. And then I went over there to where the basement was, and one of the ants told me, "Oh, we have 17 more cats down there in the basement." This house was old, like 1900s house, and all the wood looked very old, the hardwood floors, etc. Okay, but I remember the ants talking a lot about how they all came to live together. But that was a fun experience too, but that was quite a while ago. I waited too long to talk about that scenario. Oh shit, hold on, I got more. Hold on, is this part of the same damn scenario? Oh, I guess it is. Oh my God, this is a long one. I didn't realize this was a long one. Oh, no. Never mind. That's another scenario. Okay. So I'm done talking about me visiting Deanne and her 3 aunts at their house. I'm done talking about that one. But I had another scenario on December 6th. I was in a high-rise condo. That other scenario was probably around that same time, or I think it was probably even before December 6th. The visiting Deanne's house. But anyway, the morning of December 6th, I was in a high-rise condo in Texas with my friend Brenda. And this is kind of funny, but I rode my bike there. In the scenario, I was thinking apartment, but it really wasn't. It was more like a condo. I had placed my bike and set it up on the kickstand right there by the front door. I couldn't believe she chose to live in a high-rise like that, since she always lived on a ground level house. At one point, I looked down and I noticed how high up we were. I actually walked out on the balcony and I looked down and I noticed how freaking high we were. Okay, then finally, we had ordered some Mexican food, but really, this is kind of funny because in the scenario, I was told that it was programmed for me to think that it was Mexican food, but it was not Mexican food. It was India food. We were sitting there super close together on the couch, neck and neck, eating. She was on my left and me on the right. At first, we went to pick up our food in the white styrofoam containers on the cabinet in the kitchen, and then we went to the couch. This was all very vivid, and it tasted so good and so spicy. So, okay, hold on. So what we ordered was this. It was a bunch of angel hair pasta with orangey, creamy, spicy sauce with big square chunks of chicken. And I used to eat that same dish all the time at the India restaurant here in real life. It was a lot of noodles, like a lot. And a lot of spicy, yummy, orangey colored, creamy sauce. I started eating it and I'm like, wait, I can't eat this. I knew the noodles was gluten, so I just kept spooning the sauce and eating the sauce and eating around the noodles. And like I say, these noodles were thin, like angel hair pasta. Anyway, so I just kept spooning the orangey sauce and eating the sauce and eating around the noodles. Basically, I was just drinking the yummy sauce hold on. Basically, I was just drinking the yummy sauce and I started eating the big chunks of chicken too, the big chunks of square chicken. But all the time I was thinking this was India food. and not Mexican, because I knew that it was India food. But somehow it was, at the beginning of the scenario, I was told that it was Mexican food. Or that's how Joel programmed it. I also ate one small, tiny sliver of noodle, and I was hoping I would not react. This happens time and time again in my scenarios where I'm eating gluten, and then I'm like, oh man, I can't eat that, and then I'm hoping I won't react, a few minutes later. As it was hard to avoid all remnants of noodles in this dish. So also I ate one small, tiny sliver of noodle and was hoping I would not react, as it was hard to avoid, all the remnants of the noodles in this yummy dish. Eventually, I asked Brenda if she had cayenne pepper to put on my dish, but she never liked hot stuff in real life. And in the scenario, she did not like hot stuff or peppers. So she did not have any cayenne pepper in her cabinet, although I still walked over there. I opened up the cabinets, and this was all very vivid. I went over there to the cabinets and opened up at the right part of the cabinet. I did see some big plastic, I did see a big plastic canister of McCormick's seasoned salt. I thought I would put that on my dish, and I was about to, but then I knew there were many spices in there, and that the company told me, in real life, the company told me that the one ingredient products that didn't have any gluten in them. But in the scenario, I knew all of that in the scenario. And I knew that the McCormick seasoned salt had more than one ingredient, so I wasn't sure if it was gluten-free or not. I knew that there were many spices in the McCormick's. I thought I would put that on my dish, the McCormick seasoned salt, and I was about to, but then I had these thoughts of, I knew that there was more than just one spice in there, and the company told me if it was one ingredient spices, and I had all those thoughts in the scenario. I started thinking all that to myself in the scenario. If it's one ingredient spices, there's no gluten in them, but if there's several spices, then I needed to contact, the company to make sure that they were gluten-free. Are you okay, Tora? But this was a multi-ingredient product, so I decided against it, and I didn't put the McCormick salt on my dish. And so I decided not to put it on my dish. That was a fun scenario, and that lasted a long time, too. And basically, we were in this high-rise condo, Brenda's condo, and here is where here's where the balcony was, where I went out and noticed how far down we were. And the front door was like over here. And I parked my bike up against like the wall right there. Or the front entrance was right here to the condo. To the high-rise condo. And me and Brenda. Okay, hold on, wait a minute. Okay. We were sitting over here on the couch. You okay, Tora? On the couch, and then the kitchen was like over here, and here was the cabinet over to not the cabinet, what do you call it, on top, yeah, I guess that's what, yeah, cabinet, I guess, not the cabinet, the place where you put this shit, I guess it's called cabinet, crap, not the cabinet, I guess that's what it's called, well, anyway. So the styrofoam India dishes were on here, and we walked over here to pick up our food from the styrofoam dishes. And then we eventually walked back over here to the couch, and we were neck and neck eating our food. And then over here in the kitchen, this is where the cabinets were, or where I opened the cabinets, where the cabinet doors, where the compartments were. And I opened up the compartments, and up over here to the right, that's where the seasoned salt was. And that's where I saw a bunch of other canisters of stuff. But I saw that big old canister of seasoned salt and a bunch of other canisters of stuff, but it wasn't cayenne pepper. And yeah, so it was a long, fun scenario in this high-rise condo. And in real life, I mean, in real life, I used to love eating spicy stuff, and Brenda knew that. Sorry, Tori. And so in the scenario, you know, it was all replicated in the scenario that she didn't have any cayenne pepper, because in real life she didn't have any pepper and stuff because she hated all that spicy stuff. Now in real life I'm allergic to it, so I can't eat it. I mean, unless I became unallergic to it, which I guess might be possible. Because if you have that mast cell activation disorder and it makes you become allergic to everything, and then all of a sudden you get better, it could have went away. I don't know if I'd ever try it again or not. I might try it again someday, like a piece of a jalapeno pepper or something, and see if I react. I don't know. But it was a fun experience. It was all very vivid. I always eat my scenarios, and I taste the food and everything. It's really cool. It's all virtual reality. Okay, Tori, good spot. Okay, so basically all of those thoughts and stuff was replicated from real life in the scenario. You know, about all of the, you know, because I had called the company in real life and they were telling me about the spices and stuff that they made that didn't have gluten in them and blah, 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 blah. And that was all replicated in the scenario. Oh my God. Okay, so that's still not over with. I forgot to talk about the other part. Okay, so then I just kept eating the sauce and the big white chunks of chicken by spoonful, which tasted just like the sauce I used to get at the Indian restaurant here. Then Brenda went over to the same cabinet and pulled out some medicine thing. Oh, how could I forget this? But I did forget until I read it, because this was a long time ago. This was like 2-3 months ago. Okay, so I just thought it was over because I was looking. I'm trying to look at these papers, but it's not over yet. Okay, so the scenario is almost over. So then I just kept eating the big white chunks of chicken by spoonful, because I told you I was just the almost last part. So I already talked about the, there were so many spices, but this was a multi-ingredient product, so I decided against putting, that was the last part I was at. I decided against putting the McCormick's seasoned salt on my dish. Okay, so then after that, I just kept eating the sauce, the creamy sauce, and the big white chunks of chicken by spoonful, which tasted just like the sauce in real life that I used to get at the India restaurant here. Then Brenda went over to the same cabinet. She walked over to that same cabinet that I just showed you. Counter, not cabinet. That's what I meant to say. Counter, not cabinet. We went over to the counter and picked up our styrofoam dishes. Okay, Tori, hold on. Sorry, baby. I went over to the counter right here. We picked up our styrofoam dishes. Our styrofoam dishes, we were facing that way, and then the cabinets were facing this way, right here. And that's where that's where I went up to the cabinet, opened up the cabinets, and saw the McCormick spice over at the right-hand corner. And the left hand, there was a bunch of other smaller plastic spices and stuff that she had, but not any pepper and stuff like that. Okay, so then I just kept eating the sauce and big white chunks of chicken by spoonful, which tasted just like the sauce I used to get at the Indian restaurant here. Then Brenda walked over to the same cabinet and pulled out some medicine thingy in a tube, kind of like a suppository. And she walked back over to the couch where I was sitting, and she brushed it on my tongue. She said, "Here, take this. This will calm you down." I was thinking in my head, like, what the hell is this? I don't do chemicals. But she already brushed it against my tongue. I tasted my food just fine, but this I did not taste. It had no taste. When I was tasting the food, it tasted just fine and everything, but when she brushed that against my tongue, it did not taste like anything. It had no taste, but I knew that it was probably, chemically. It was like the whole scenario, I was tempted to eat stuff I was allergic to, as in a lot of my scenarios. So it was like in the whole scenario, I was tempted to eat stuff I was allergic to, as in a lot of my scenarios. So then after she brushed the tip of my tongue with that small suppository looking thingy, she showed me some sugar cookies in the kitchen. I was tempted. Then I realized I cannot eat those cookies, since in my thoughts, I was thinking and knew that they were not almond flour cookies, most likely. So we walked back over here, and then I saw me and Brenda walked back over here to the counter. And she showed me a big plate of sugar cookies, and this was all very vivid. And that's when I looked, down and saw the sugar cookies, and that's when I knew, that most likely that they're not almond flour sugar cookies. So I knew that I probably should not eat them. And like I say, the whole scenario, it was like I was tempted to eat stuff that I shouldn't be eating in real life. And even in scenario, I knew I shouldn't be eating all that stuff. Anyway, and so I was thinking in my head, they're most likely not almond flour cookies, so I knew I probably couldn't eat them. And then I started having thoughts of how will I tell Brenda that I'm allergic to most of all this food that she had, that she was trying to feed me. I was trying to get enough nerve to tell her that I'm allergic to this and allergic to that. I'm always in awkward positions now in my scenario. So anyway, that's what, what I wrote down 3 months ago. 3 months ago when I wrote down this experience, that I'm always in awkward positions now in my scenarios, or a lot of times I am. Okay, what the hell is this? Another scenario I had on December 6th. Okay, hold on. Oh, okay, well, here's another scenario. But like I said, this was also 3 months ago or longer. Okay, also this morning in the scenario on December 6th, I was in this building, this medical type of building, and this one got fuzzy on me since I had the condo scenario. The condo scenario was way after this scenario. So this one got a little fuzzy on me because I already had the clearer one after the scenario where me and Brenda were in the condo. It's like I was going on a camping trip, and for whatever reason, I was walking around this building, which was like a medical building, and I was up on a higher level, 4th or 5th level, for a long time with my sister and many other people. I was thinking I needed to go ahead and get the COVID vaccine to protect me from weird stuff that you get, in the woods. Finally, this nurse technician started walking towards me, and then at the last minute, I decided against it, that I didn't want to take the COVID vaccine. Then boom, I started, walking faster and faster, walking and running away from her, and I ended up walking down into a basement to hide, and other people came with me. Then boom, there was that same nurse with the vaccine and needle in her hands, and she started walking towards me. And it looked like she had some kind of square thing in her hand as I looked down at her hand, which makes sense since I just saw 1899, a show on Netflix, and there was the square thing in there that people were holding. So in the scenario, Joel copied that. She had the square thing in her hand. But anyway, that was a fun scenario too, but that was on the same morning before that, the condo scenario. But in the scenario, it was sort of programmed for me to think it was an apartment, but it was like, I knew that it was more like a condo any day of the week than an apartment, a high-rise condo. But anyway, I have this other experience I had a few days ago, and it was a blast. And it was very clear and vivid and virtual reality. And it was back to the mansion on East Sunshine Street. Thanks for listening. Good girl, Tora. See, she gets right here, and it just makes my stomach uncomfortable. She has to get in a perfect spot, like right there. She kept, I hate it when you're on my stomach like that. Shippy!